Okay, and so we've got the percentage increase and decrease lesson with a calculator lesson. Now this is for year 9 and year 10. What I'd like to do, please, is write down the title, which is percentage increase slash decrease with a calculator. And the learning objective is to use percentage multipliers on the calculator to increase or decrease a value. And this is all grade 4 work. Now what we're going to be doing this lesson is we're going to be doing something very similar to last lesson, but we're going to be using the calculators, and that's going to make it simpler in sort of a number of ways. So the whole thing here is to write down the multipliers. So what we've got to do is, if we're going to find 50%, I mean 50% is easy, just halve it, but the whole multiplier is a different kettle of fish. So the multiplier for 50% is, all you do, if you've got 50%, try and slice smaller font, if you've got 50%, then we divide it by 100, so 50% would go to 0.5, and 0.5 is the multiplier. If you've got 80%, if we divide that by 100, that's going to go to 0.8. 10%, if we divide that by 100, that's going to go to, so 10% will go to 0.1. 25%, if we divide that by 100, it's going to go to 0.25. So that's how you find multipliers. If you had, say, 17%, that's going to go to 0.17. The bit where people get confused is if you've got something like 3%. So if you divide that by 100, that's going to go to 0.03. Now, it's all very well being able to find out the multiplier, but it's what the multiplier is used for is the key in this lesson. So if we have a look at the next one, we're going to work out 20% of 90. So the first thing we do is we work this out as a multiplier. So 20%, as we've learned on the previous page there, 20% equals 0.2. So what we do with that multiplier is, to work out 20% of 90, we do 0.2 times by 90. And if we do that on the calculator, 0.2 times by 90, that gives us 18, or 18 centimetres if we use the units here. So it's a very, very quick way of finding percentages. So 70%, we've got a calculator in front of us, so 70% goes to 0.7. So if we're going to find 70% of 3 kilometres, rather than finding 10% like we did laboriously last lesson, we're going to use the multiplier, which is 0.7. So 0.7 multiplied by 3, that equals 2.1, or 2.1 kilometres. So it's very, very quick and very simple. Now, once we've sort of mastered all this, the next thing we look at is how to do percentage increase and percentage decrease as well. So if we're looking at a 4% increase, we always start off with 100%. So imagine a bar, and that bar is 100%. And what we're going to do is we're going to increase that bar by 4%. So now the total, if we've increased it by 4%, it's going to be 104%. And so what we've got to do is we've got to work out what 104% is as a multiplier. So 104%, if we divide by 100, is going to go to 1.04. So again, think about, for question B, start off with 100%. We're going to add 15% on top. So therefore that's going to be 115%. So as a multiplier, 115%, that's going to go to 1.15 once you divide by 100. Next one, we've got 100%. You don't need to do these diagrams each time. If you're happy with understanding it, you don't need to worry about the diagrams. You're going to add on 30%. So that's going to be a total of 130%. And that's going to go to 1.3 when you divide it by 100. 62%. So that's going to be 162%. That's going to then go to 1.62, and that's going to be your multiplier. So basically what these multipliers do, it gives you a number that you multiply by that will represent a 62% increase. So if we consider these questions here. So we've got an increase by 70%. So if you've got 100%, when we add on 70%, that's going to be 170%. So that is a multiplier of 1.7. So in order to increase 60 mils by 70%, we multiply it by 1.7. So 60 times by 1.7, and that gives us 102. So the answer is going to be 102 mils. The next one, we've got 940 increased by 8%. So what we do is we start off with 100%. We're going to increase it by 8%. And that's going to give us 108%. We then work that out as a decimal, because it's all about the multipliers. Each time we keep going back to this thing here, we're using multipliers to do percentage increase. So 108% is 1.08. So then to increase this by 8%, we times it by 1.08, so 940 times by 1.08, and that gives us 1015.2. That's going to be pounds. So 1015.2 pounds means 1015 pounds and 20 pence. Just be careful with that. Your calculator, sorry, when you did this, your calculator might have said 5076 over 5. If that's the case, you've got to find the button which looks like SD and press that button, and when you do that, it takes you to this answer here. Okay, so the lesson is percentage increase and percentage decrease. So the next one, what we're going to do is we're going to decrease something by 4%. So again, imagine you've got your bar, which is 100%. And what we're going to do is we're going to decrease that. We're going to snip off the top 4%, which means that we're left with 96%. So therefore, to decrease this by 4%, that's going to be 96%, so it's going to be 80 times by 0.96. So 80 times by 0.96 is 76.8, or 76.8 mils. Next one, 480 decreased by 13%. So again, we're decreasing by that percentage. So imagine our initial percentage, which is 100%. We're then going to snip the top 13% off, and that leaves us with 87%. 87% we know as our multiplier is 0.87. So we're going to do 480 times by 0.87. So just bear with me. 480 times by 0.87, and that equals £417 and or 0.6. That's going to be pounds and 60 pence. Okay, so once you've done all of the beginning questions on your worksheet, I want you to make sure you spend at least half the lesson doing the applied questions again. Just like last lesson, it's all about getting to the harder applied questions. So we've got David's salary, which used to be £19,500 before he received an 8% pay rise. So that means we're going to increase it by 8%. So you've got your original, which is 100%. We're going to increase it by 8%. So that's going to be 108%, which goes to 1.08. So 1.08, we're going to do 19,500 times by 1.08. And that equals £21,060. So what I'd like you to do is spend half a lesson doing questions 1 to 5, which is the questions very much like what we've done here. And then what I want you to do is work on the more applied questions, and they're like this last one here. Okay, thank you.